it's Seth Jones, Editor-in-Chief of Golfdom Magazine. Today I'm being joined by John Gosselin. He is the superintendent out at Aronimink Golf Club in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. They are hosting the PGA Championship May 11th through the 17th, so John's plenty busy. John, appreciate you taking this time. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Well, thanks for taking some time for Golfdom Magazine. I know you're a busy guy and you got a big tournament right around the corner here. Let's get to know you a little bit, and congratulations on winning the Eb Steiniger Award last fall or December, or I guess in the winter. But can you just tell me about yourself? How did you find your way into the industry?
I mean, just like a lot of people, it happened. Just worked at a golf course in high school,
Hmm.
um, and went off and did other things and tried other things and went to school and tried a few different avenues for college, and just for one reason or another, just kept coming back to the golf course.
Hmm.
Uh, and then the superintendent, I was probably about 20 years old, kind of lost. The superintendent, his name was Barry Laverty. Um, the public golf course in the community I grew up in, and it was just kind of place where a lot of people hung out. Had the pool, ice skating rink, pizzeria, disco, which
Nice, yeah.
that should date me. And just kept coming back, and then eventually Barry Laverty, the superintendent again, he told me about Penn State and the Penn State 2-year program. And then from there, I did what I needed to do to get into that, which took a couple of years. And then once I got into that, I went off and did an internship at Marion for Richie Valentine. And then that just kind of started my career.
Hmm.
Worked at a handful of places, including Marion. I worked at Aronimink for a year after I got out of school. And worked with the DuPont Company in their hospitality division. I left there to go work for Rolling Green to be a superintendent. I was a superintendent at DuPont when I left, but I left for Rolling Green. Had a chance to work with Gil Hanse. Stayed there for a little bit, and then DuPont recruited me to come back to be a sports and facilities manager. And I did that for 5 years, and I really missed being on the golf course every day. And an opportunity ended up opening up at Aronimink, and that was 20 years ago, and I've been at Aronimink ever since.
Very cool. Very cool. So talk to me about the golf course, and especially for my superintendent readers. So from the last time, obviously this course has hosted has hosted quite a few events. But what are you guys doing for the PGA, and anything that is going to be particularly interesting about what Hanse has done, or what the crew has been able to pull off out there?
The coolest thing about the golf course is this is Aronimink's 4th location, and this golf course opened up in 1928. And we started out as the Belmont Cricket Club, so it was a cricket club till 1900, and then that's when golf was introduced to the club, and that's when it became Aronimink. And again, we've had several locations. The last location was in Drexel Hill, which is fairly close to us. That was at Tillinghast. That lasted 1913 to 1928 when this opened. So the coolest thing is the golf course. All the holes are still the same. The greens are still the same. Greens have never been rebuilt.
Okay.
So they're basically almost 100 years old. We have lost corners here and there, and then recaptured them with Gil Hanse. So it's gone through the normal architectural timeline. There's a lot of golf courses in the area, overplanted with trees for a while, modernized. And then the latest go around, the last 2 opportunities to do any work on the golf course were in the early 2000s with Ron Pritchard, and that started us down the road of restoration. And then in 2015 and 16 with Gil Hanse and his team, we really turned back the clock and put the course back to as it was built. So everybody, anybody that sees the golf course, it looks like it did in or most of our photographs that we used for the restoration were from 1929.
Okay, wow, that's great.
Uh,
So John, you mentioned that you got out of the industry for a little bit, but you missed being on the golf course so much. So, obviously, and you're at a place like Aronimink, so you got some, the pedigree of the work you guys are doing and what you're seeing. What advice do you have for people, young people, maybe on your crew or that you meet, and just what it is about this job that really gets you going and how to be successful in it?
uh, yeah, that's a tough one, but for me, I just followed my passion. I really love the game of golf, and I love the agronomic side, but I also love the game itself, and played a lot of golf. So for me, it kind of just it drew me in, and then again, when I worked at DuPont, I was spending a lot of times with facilities, and we had a hotel downtown Wilmington. Um, and I ended up spending a lot of time down there. And even though at the time we had 3 golf courses, I just wasn't hardly getting on the golf courses at all. And so I made a little bit of a crazy move to just jump and leave that job. It was actually a very good job, to jump back in. And, looking back, obviously it was the right move. Everything's worked out great. So, um, the only advice I can do, don't be afraid to change jobs. I mean, some of the biggest salary increases I've gotten is when I've changed jobs. Uh, uh, so don't be afraid to take that next challenge. I mean, if that's what drives you. But it's so individual. People have different interests and different things that drives them in this industry. So me, Rolling Green was a no-brainer to take that job because it was a William Flynn design, and I really love golf course architecture, and it was a chance to work on something that was really cool. It was all still there. And again, luckily, 6 months after I got there, we hired a young Gil Hanse. And I got a chance to watch him in action and watch him, deal with the members and put together a beautiful master plan. This was back in probably 97 or 98.
Wow.
And that was pretty exciting. And then same thing when Aronimink, the opportunity at Aronimink, I have known Aronimink and played it over the years before I took the job, and the architecture and the history, just, I couldn't pass up that kind of opportunity to get back to a place like this. And like I said, it was a terrific move.
Okay, very cool, very cool. John, I'm curious, what are some of your what kind of tools of the trade that are you using? Are you a high tech guy? Are you old school? Anything that you want to talk to me about that you're really enjoying in terms of getting the job done these days?
I think we're high tech to a certain point. I mean, all our sprayers, and we use all the apps and the different whole location apps. So every day we're using apps, and it's but nothing beats. I try and talk to people. Nothing beats. You can stick probes in the ground and look at all the data and all that, but nothing beats a pocket knife and kneeling down and cut open the turf and look at it, and scouting for all the prediction tools in the world that we have right now. But nothing beats going out and scouting for whatever the pest is. With us, it's high produce weevils, a key pest that we're looking at. But just to open up, look at the roots, smell it, all the typical things that we used to do. Don't forget to do those as well, because it tells you so much that a probe can't tell you, or whatever prediction tools you're using just can't predict everything, because you have so many different microclimates out there.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of weevil is it that you said?
High produce weevil is probably our number one insect
Okay.
pest that we have to deal with in this area right now for the last several years. So
What's effective for it? Have you found a good tool? A good
yeah,
chemical?
we just rotate some different chemicals and then scout constantly.
Okay.
There's not much we can do culturally,
Hmm.
so it is just staying on top of it.
Okay.
But there's a lot of great products out there.
Okay, great, great. You gonna have a bunch of help coming out from in terms of volunteers to in local vendors?
Yeah, so right now we're looking at as far as the volunteers, we have about 80 volunteers. Now, they're not all working every single day, but most of them are. We have about 70 different clubs represented from around the country that'll be here.
Oh, great.
So the support is phenomenal. And then on top of that, the different vendors and the companies, not all that we deal with, just the people that want to be a part of it, they really stepped up to the plate and have donated money to sponsor these volunteers so we can give them a great volunteer experience since they're coming to make this tournament successful. So whether it's clothing, food, headlamps, housing, shuttles, all those types of things, the vendor support has been just tremendous. So it really does take the whole golf community, the green, the agronomic community to pull this off.
Very
And
good.
we're lucky. I don't know what it is, but we're awfully lucky. We're in a big area, Philadelphia area, and that helps. There's so many clubs around this area that we have all the support we need, and then some.
Okay, okay. That's what you call a soundbite right there, John. I can tell you right now, I'm going to use that. That's well said. I appreciate that. So, but John, don't hang up. But I want to, just for the sake of the interview, I want to thank you one more time, and just let
Okay.
everybody know that this is John Gosselin out of Aronimink Golf Club. He's hosting the PGA Championship. John, appreciate your time, and we're really looking forward to seeing the tournament.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right.